This is my project. It is a 1984 Porsche 944, and it used to be a track car, and I'm going to turn it into a drift car that will no longer look like a 944 when I'm done with it.
I got this from some friends who set it up for PCA club racing a number of years ago, but it's been a while since it's been on the track.
Let's push it in the shop and see what we're really working with, because this car's been in storage for a very long time.
Not pushing much.
It rolls just fine. You're pushing
and he's
too
not
fast.
steering very well.
Are we starting with fighting already?
Yeah.
It's a new video series and we're already yelling at each other.
Now I know what you're thinking. What about Project Jigsaw?
Project Jigsaw is in a stage where it takes a lot of effort to get a little bit of perceived progress.
We value your time, we know it's important, and so we want to give you the best videos we can.
And to do that, that means we're gonna continue working on this car daily, but we're not gonna put videos on this car out every single week.
This project means too much for me for us to not keep working on it, so stick around and we'll talk about that at the end of the video.
I just really want to build a drift car too, guys. It's my turn for my project. Now I also know what you're thinking. You're thinking, Ryan, this 944 can be drifted the way that it is. Why change the body? Well, in short, that's not what we do here. But before we get into the body in the car, we need to strip it down and get some measurements and 3D scans to figure out what body we're going to put on top of it, and also to figure out what we're working with. Because Tony, you used to race this car, right?
Yeah, so one thing that's really going to help us with this project is the fact that it was already a well-sorted car. It actually set a track record when they took it out to tune it for the very first time on the track.
That's really impressive. You shouldn't give me this car. That's my project car. I'm gonna ruin it.
And I never personally had it on the track, but I did autocross with it, and it was a lot of fun for that, and I know it's gonna work really well for drifting because I kind of had to try not to drift this car around the autocross.
That's impressive too, because it has some really wide Fuchs on it. We should probably not use these wheels because they're worth money.
We don't put things that are worth money in the hands of Ryan.
No, we do not. So without any further ado, we're gonna begin tearing down the car, and as we go through tearing down, we're gonna figure out what we have to work with, what we're gonna keep, what we're gonna throw away, what we're going to refresh, because this car is a well-sorted chassis. It should already have coilovers on it. It should have a drivetrain already of some sort. We're gonna find out.
Fortunately, this body comes off really easily, so we'll take the hood off and we can see what the engine looks like.
In terms of engine, we have none. What should we put in this? I don't know yet. This is very uncomfortable and I'm stuck, I think. No, wait, hey. There is a lot of room in here though. In terms of 944s, I've seen LS's done. I've seen 1.8Ts from the Audis done. Yeah, I'm not really sure what I want to put in this. We do have 944 engines, so we could just put a 944 engine in this. Pretty sure the torque tube's aluminum, right?
Yep.
And we have the snail transmission too.
Yep.
We have a bunch of rare parts in this car. The snail transmission is smaller and lighter.
All the weight is in front of the differential, so that's
Which we actually kind of want that for drifting, I guess.
Yep.
What's that? What powers are rated for? Do you know?
Nope.
We can find out.
If we stay smaller and turbocharged, you know,
Ooh, I like that.
Not having like something really ridiculously torquey will probably help save that.
I will say too, anybody who knows drifting in general knows that you don't need 1,000 horsepower to drift. In fact, if you're a bad drifter, you don't want 1,000 horsepower. You want to start light. A little bit of history about myself. I mentioned in the previous video, I had a 240SX hatchback with an RB20 in it, so it was like roughly 250 horsepower, something like that. Welded diff, the whole 9 yards. I had a lot of fun drifting in that car, and I don't really see needing like more than 300, 350 horsepower in this car.
This had an NA 944 engine in it. It was a 2.7 with ITBs, but if that wing was not on there, you could run this sideways all day long.
This
Donuts
wing
were no problem.
It's massive, absolutely massive,
It's
and definitely
actually
not staying on the car.
It's a cut down sprint car wing, and it's gotten a lot of looks, but the amount of downforce that this provided was pretty crazy.
We might do a 944 engine, but I'm interested to hear what you guys think we should put in this car. What's great is most of the body panels are held on by Zeus fasteners, which are these like half-turn springy boys. Boop. Tony's looking for the tool, but I'm just gonna use this flathead to do it. So a lot of the panels just pop right off. Soon we'll have a very bare chassis. Boop.
So if we want to get the yellow panel off the top here, we first have to take the base for the wing off, and that's bolted from underneath. Yeah, so.
Rock, paper, scissors. Haha, you're going under.
No, the guy that wins goes under.
No, it's my project, I get to choose.
Okay, all right, we'll go with that for now.
All right, let's quick. So what we're trying to figure out right now is what body we can fit around the bare minimum of chassis that's left behind. Once Tony's done underneath there, we can really crack in. This dinner bench is in the way. Dinner bench, is that even a word?
No.
I made something up just now. This dining room table's in the way, so we gotta get it out of the way first. You look like the Wicked Witch from Oz or whatever, or like sticking out front of the house.
Yep.
This video has been paid for and is sponsored by our friends over at HelloFresh. They say breakfast is the most important meal of the day, and HelloFresh agrees. In fact, they're giving all subscribers free breakfast for life. That means you'll enjoy a totally free breakfast item with every single HelloFresh delivery. Now that's important. With summer in the rearview mirror and crazy days ahead, we're all craving wholesome meals that save us time and money. HelloFresh has something for everyone. Each box is fully customizable to fit your preferences and includes pre-portioned ingredients, so you only pay for what you need. Don't let recipe boredom keep you from your goals. Give HelloFresh a try and choose from over 30 calorie smart and protein smart recipes each week. Start your day right with one free breakfast item per box while your subscription is active. Support the channel by clicking the link in the description down below and subscribing to HelloFresh. Every purchase helps us create more awesome content for you. Huge thanks to HelloFresh for sponsoring this week's video. Now let's get back to work. Hey, careful with my paint.
You're not keeping
What's inside
any of
this
those
wing? Wait.
It's
Can you hear
rivets.
that?
Yeah, I think it's like pieces of the rivets that put it together. Now it's really like a table. It's yours. Take it.
Hey, my Zeus fastener. I'm just talking to him like he talks to me with all his projects. See, only I'm allowed to do that.
Be even less.
Whoa, it had an axle-driven alternator?
Yes.
Dude!
Yep, I disabled it when I was autocrossing with it because there just wasn't enough speed and there's too much idle time. It did not work for that.
We're gonna have to put that back on probably, or use that. For those who don't know, on race cars, it's pretty common practice to have an alternator that runs off the axle, so there's less load on the engine, so you can get more power.
But you do have to have a good bit of vehicle speed going because anytime you're not moving, it's not charging.
Yeah.
And like I said, in autocross, there's just a lot of time sitting in grid, idling, and it did not work for that.
Yeah, there's that snail transmission we were talking about that has all the, so on 944, it's transaxle, so the transmission's in the back with the differential, but it's the snail transmission, the transmission's in front of the differential in this car. I think this is a very valuable transmission.
Yep, the other nice thing about that transmission, aside from where the weight is placed, is the fact that the gears in that transmission are out of a 915 transmission that you would have on a 911. So there are a lot more gear sets available for it. So you have a lot more gear ratios available. They didn't make a lot for the 944 trans, but for this, you've got a lot more options.
That's interesting. So I think we should definitely keep that, the transaxle setup with the torque tube. Because initially I was thinking we should switch it out for a just regular old diff. Kind of depends what we do engine-wise, but because it's in front of the differential, drifting-wise, it should be fine. I don't want to have a ton of weight in the back, but
you could potentially swap out the whole drivetrain, which would mean a transmission mounted up there, engine in the front, and then just a diff in the back, which will keep it lightweight in the back.
We'll see what we end up doing. It's plenty of light in the back as it is.
Yeah, as you can see, there's nothing back here. Even the gas tank got moved up to the passenger seat.
Yeah.
So there's zero weight pretty much behind the rear axle.
Well, I was thinking initially, like, it'd be kind of cool to have the radiator in the back.
Okay.
The fans and stuff, that's pretty common. And also have like fume extraction fans, for all the tire smoke. But we'll get there. I have lots of ideas. But for now, we got to figure out what we can work with body-wise. Check this out. They actually put a latch here. Oh, there's a pin in it. Even better. And it has like a real door.
But with all that side protection, I literally just jumped in through the roof every time I got in and out of the car.
Yeah, because this is a very tight window to go through.
This car originally had a roof on when they started. They cut that off mostly for weight, I think. It definitely made it a lot easier to get in and out of.
The real question is, should I have a roof in my car? You know what? I was just talking about having fume extraction and stuff. I won't need that if it's an open top.
Yep.
Or will I? The other thing I don't like is the center tunnel here is so boxy.
Yeah, well, most of that could go away.
Yeah, because like there's not like a lot of room for the shifter here.
Right. This is barely in there.
That's not very aesthetically pleasing. We're gonna have a little bit of aesthetics in that car too. Just a little.
Yeah, the box over the tunnel and the fuel cell was primarily, it was all function, no form, so we can change that.
Tech.
Yep.
I think tech's a little bit more lax for
That explains why you were involved.
I'm not saying nothing.
I think the gas gauge still works.
That's self-explanatory. I like the numbers.
It's marked for gallons. Oh yeah.
Is it for gallons?
Yeah. I did that.
Was there nothing at all before and you got tired of that? Or?
Yeah, I cut down a broom handle and I calibrated it.
I see that.
Yeah. You got this? It's heavy.
It weighs like nothing. It doesn't translate to camera, but that's gotta be like 1 pound. Nice. So we got a removable steering wheel here, a quick release.
Yep, there you go.
It's a little stuck.
It's been a while since it came off.
Oh my goodness, this window is tiny, dude.
Yeah, you need to go in through the top.
Not anymore. I'm gonna do this. Oh my gosh. I am a pretty small dude and that's still tight.
It's way easier to get in from the top. Let me show you.
I'm in here currently, can you not? Can you not? This car was built for high-speed racing. I guess that's a good way to say
Track
it, right?
events, yep.
Track events, right? So we have this NASCAR bar here, I believe it's called, correct?
Sounds good to me.
I think it's called NASCAR bar, I'm not 100% sure. Not necessary for what we're going to be doing. I think we're gonna remove this because I'd like to have a passenger seat in the car, which means the fuel cell, which is sitting underneath this beautiful sheet metal work.
Another bonus of having a already built race car is you don't have to buy expensive bits like fuel cells. We can, like you said, we'll probably want to move this behind the seats.
We'll go into that in a little bit, but we're gonna relocate the fuel cell. Tony was just saying too, I know you guys are thinking, you guys just bought or have a pre-set up car. This is not gonna be an interesting build project, but we're gonna change a lot of this. A lot of this is gonna change. We just have a nice, well-sorted vehicle to work off of. We don't have to chop up a good 944 and spend a ton of money on coilovers and stuff. We have more money for the other fun things instead, like an engine. Also, these gauges are very much like NASCAR. They're exact NASCAR gauges. I used to have the NASCAR 1998 or whatever on computer. Usually the exact same gauges they had, the Autometer, Pro Comp, Ultralights, and we got our drag tag with the shift indicator. I don't think we're gonna need the shift indicator. Where we're going, we're gonna be in Reveler all the time.
That is a beefy sway bar.
That thing's gotta weigh like 25 pounds.
Right, yep.
At least.
That is a very stiff front sway bar, which I have never set up a drift car, but this is probably not what you're after.
Typically you want stiff in the back.
Back, yep.
This is your captain speaking. Please keep all forward-facing hands in the vehicle at all times. Stewardesses, please distribute the Biscoff cookies. The best part of flying. They're my favorite part whenever we go anywhere. Those cookies they give you, they're the best things in the world.
You have a lot of issues.
I do. Is this the brake bias?
Yep.
So there's a knob here as F and R for front and rear. Since we're changing the brake bias from front to rear, I don't know if it's
totally
doing
messed it up.
I don't think it's doing much anything right now. Is it fluid?
What do you expect to feel when you do that or hear?
It feels, so this feels like very, like, it's just a knob spinning with nothing else happening behind it. That's what I'm not expecting to feel. Does this car have brakes on it?
Does it have brakes? Yeah.
It does? Does the pedal like, oh, whoa, the pedal even has pressure.
Well, yeah.
He says, well, yeah, like, he just like drove this and the ran when parked kind of thing.
It did run when parked before I pulled the engine out of it.
Ironically, the engine came out of this to go into another 944 race car. So Tony,
yeah.
If I pull this red lever as this fire, do you think something bad would happen?
Well, let me stand over here and I'll watch.
This car has a Halon fire suppression system still in it. I'm sure that is expired. I imagine it would still work. I think there's pressure. Is there? I can't see the gauge. It might have pressure.
Leave it alone, Ryan.
Well, we should probably remove it from the car.
Well, yeah. That's
but how do we remove? I'm gonna have to do some Googling because I don't know how to remove that. It's like disarming a bomb. There's so much to do. Anyway, now that I have had fun climbing around in the monkey bars, I think the first step is to remove anything that is body related and chassis related on this car that will get in the way of a new body. So in Jigsaw, it was really important to us to not have like that boxed or footprint or outline. I'm thinking the same thing with this car in the sense I want to remove anything that's 944 that's going to like lock us into the 944 shape.
It's like one piece.
I know, there's not much left. In fact, like even like this whole back end right here, this tubing here, I don't know if it's gonna stay. It doesn't really do a whole lot except for like the rear, holding up the rear end, which we might be retubing depending on what body you put on here. Because there's a lot of space here for no reason. We're not gonna put a fuel cell back here.
We don't need it. The only reason for leaving this right now is we can build off of it to attach a body.
Correct.
If it gets in the way, then it just can go away.
Body. So let's work from the back to front, Tony, and let's get this rear and off.
You know what's funny is you're saying about not being identifiable as a 944.
Yeah.
When I ran this, I autocrossed this for a couple of seasons,
Yeah.
and literally 944 owners would ask me what kind of car it was. With the roof cut off and the big blue wing, they couldn't even identify their own car.
That's really funny. To the cutoff wheel.
Ryan wants to start another project because he just likes to chop up my cars.
This one's my car now. I was gonna say.
They're not supposed to do that.
If you have a 944 or are building a 944 or own a 944 track car, what are you just interested in general, we're gonna sell these parts. So if you're interested in 944 fiberglass body parts, let us know before we put them on the marketplace and sell them to someone else.
Here's your other brake light. Timber.
I caught it before it fell. Everything back here from like axle back is doing nothing for us other than, like Tony said, to potentially mount the new body, which we'll probably fabricate new tubing that matches the body instead of this box. I'm not sure yet. My gut wants to just cut right here and just drop the whole tail end off. That's not the smart move.
Let's do the smart thing. I think if we just cut right here, down through there, we can drop this.
Yeah, we're not gonna use that regardless.
This is already supported laterally with this, so we don't need that for that. And
yeah, and I'll make a crash beam in the back that's tubing instead of unibody. I'm surprised this unibody lasted that long, Tony. You didn't put it in a wall backwards.
I only autocrossed it, and the whole idea
The
is
cones
to not
won't do
get
that
you
to you.
anywhere. Yeah, anywhere
the cones
near
won't
a
damage
wall.
you that much.
Now the blade's done.
Who broke the blade?
Tony
Not
did.
Me.
Yeah.
I didn't break the blade. I pull off this windshield, quote unquote. This duct tape is
Probably
so old and decrepit.
Broke
You
my
have
windshield.
no fasteners here.
Broke my windshield. Now it's not mine anymore. Do whatever you want.
Do what I want. You hear that? Do what I want. Where we're going, we don't need hood pins or these standoffs or the corner of the car here. That was easy enough. As you were installed with like self-tapping screws, race car stuff. I'll leave the rest of this front tubing for now. It'll probably be retubed with actual tubing, not this unibody, depending on what body we put on the car, because this might be a little too long with the car I have in mind. All right, so the car is torn down as much as we need it to 3D scan it. We did find, Tony pointed out to me, there are tubes going from this front roll bar across to the top of the strut tower. It's like integrated to the unibody. So if we do need to cut more down, we can actually go all the way down to that tube and still have structural strength to the top
Strut
of the struts.
towers.
Yeah, the
Yep.
strut towers, thank you. But for now, we're gonna leave it alone, just in case you don't have to, because you don't have to. I'm not gonna touch it.
What?
I know. The next step is we're gonna do a little bit of cleanup. We're gonna take all of our parts here and put them in storage. And again, if you guys are looking for some 944 race car fiberglass, let us know. Otherwise, it's going up in the marketplace eventually. When we were putting those parts away, I had a thought. First, I gotta measure. Kyle, can you like step on the tape measure here? Okay. About 2,400 millimeters. Let's go check something. I think I got something here. So Tony has a bunch of project cars sitting around. Most of them he had bought for previous projects, and then they just have been sitting for years and years and years. I think he has one that might be a good candidate for a body swap. It is exactly 2,400. I don't think this has ever been done. I don't think this car has ever been turned into a drift car, ever. And I even Googled a little bit here before we shot this because I wanted to be sure. We might have it, boys. We might have the next body swap. Let's dig this thing out and get a good look at it. Which means I'm gonna need some help. Where'd Tony go? Oh boy, crunchy. Carbide.
This is a Volkswagen Karmann Ghia. Now someone has already modified it by putting the structure of a 914 under the back of it to turn it mid-engine. And we're not gonna use any of that because all we really need is the outside shell.
I'm really excited about this because I don't think anybody's built a drift Karmann Ghia yet. It's probably somewhere in like the dark corners of the internet that I haven't seen yet that it exists. But as far as I know, as far as Tony knows, this has not been done yet.
Except in a video game.
Yeah, except for video games. Apparently it's a popular drift car in Forza. We're building it, we're gonna do it first. First things first, I'm gonna scan the race car chassis. Having trouble with tracking on some of the dark, glossier parts, so I'm gonna use this AE Sub scanning spray, which I love. I don't need every single detail absolutely perfect, but I really wanna get the biggest outward points correct, so.
Our new cables from Numeric showed up, so I'm gonna keep working on Jigsaw while Ryan works on the scans for our new project. So the original cables I ordered too short. That's why our shifter is living way back here. So I'm gonna take these out, put the new cables in, and then we should have a nicely operating shifter for once. Our intent with Project Jigsaw is to build a quality product that at the end, I want to drive around and that I intend to own for a very long time. And so there are parts of that that don't fit in well to what you normally find on YouTube. So Ryan and I have been working on a way to put out a quality video every week, even though we're working on a project that doesn't always allow us to make the progress necessary to make that happen. And while it might seem like we're dividing our attention and it's going to mean less progress, it actually means we're able to focus on the work that we need to do without the pressure of trying to put out a video on this project every week. And we chose this project specifically because number one, Ryan's really been itching to do a drift car, but also we wanted a project that would allow us to showcase the ingenuity and the fabrication that you are used to in this shop, but without having to spend thousands of man hours hand shaping the body and a lot of the other things that you see here. That project will go a lot quicker, and because we're starting with a sorted chassis, a lot of the work's already been done for us, but we're gonna do some interesting things on top of that so that we're not just rebodying an old race car. Another advantage of having two project cars means that we'll be able to leapfrog, and when we're stuck waiting for parts or supplies, or many other things that hang you up in the middle of a project, we'll be able to pop over to the other one, which ensures we'll be able to produce a high quality video each and every week without wasting your time while we wait for parts. Oh yeah, that's better. We are really excited for all that we've got coming up in 2025, so we really appreciate your support and sticking with us. I think you're really gonna like what we've got going on with the other project, and I promise we're not gonna let up on this one. And I promise we're gonna replace this shift knob with something that makes a little more sense with the theme of the car and functionality.
So the 3D scanning was a bit of a bust, mainly because our 3D scanner we currently have is made for like high detailed scans in like medium-sized areas, not for an entire car, especially one that has tubing everywhere. I could have spent a lot of time scanning different segments and stitching them together, but with the phase we're at right now, it's not really necessary. I did, however, take a 944 stock image, overlay a stock image of a Karmann Ghia over top of each other, which you see on screen right now, and they line up pretty decently, especially since the 944 I'm currently sitting in right now is extremely cut down compared to the one in the image. Tony and I spent a little bit of time with a tape measure. We ran around with both cars, took a bunch of measurements, and confirmed the Karmann Ghia body will fit on this chassis with some minor modifications, which are fine because we're going for an aggressive look. So what you guys can look forward to on this project is a rowdy drift car with a carbon Ghia body draped around it aggressively and lots of fabrication. We're gonna redo some tubing on this. We're gonna do a hydro e-brake. We're gonna do some mechanical work. We're gonna put a baller engine in the front of this car that will give this thing the power that we need to throw it sideways for the turns. We're gonna probably make our own control arms and do steering angle adjustments. We're gonna do the whole 9 yards to make this thing be a track weapon. And we're gonna try to do all that before this summer's drift season. So that also means you guys will catch us on the track at some events this year. I am super stoked to have a project of my own, so thanks for coming along for the ride. As always, thanks for hanging in the shop with us. We'll catch you guys next week.